Hello, beautiful people. My name is Marika Gare, and this is the Inspiration Trilogy, a platform for women across the globe to share wisdom, advice, and just have some meaningful conversations. So today's guest is Kate Taylor, who is a conception doula, menstrual cycle and motherhood mentor, and owner of Embracing Change. So welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Look, it's great to have you here. For the listeners out there, do you want to share a little bit about yourself and how you got to where you are?
Sure. It's a very long story. I'll try and condense it in a nutshell, and it might be a rather large nutshell, but we'll try anyway. So, a lot of it stems from my own journey. So my fertility journey, and I also was diagnosed with endometriosis, which is a reproductive condition. So this can be something that hinders your fertility essentially. So these two things were the catalyst, I guess, for my own healing, and I recognized that there didn't seem to be enough for support for women from the holistic perspective, rather than going down mainstream Western medicine. I wanted to open myself up to another approach. I'm a very experimental type person. I love trying lots of different things. So I've dived down a lot of rabbit holes and I've gone quite deep. And that really, that journey has supported me to create systems and support for other women on their fertility journey. So I have a natural, holistic, non-invasive approach to support women to conceive naturally. I also support women around their menstrual cycle and the journey of womanhood. So basically from each phase, all the way from tweens and teens, around puberty and periods, and really normalizing it and making it okay and allowing them to see it from a new perspective. And then also the mums, because the mums often didn't have a very good journey themselves. So it's a twofold there. So I support people and educate them around not just the physiological stuff, because we all learn that in health class at school, but I delve more into the emotional aspects, the mental well-being, and your energy being, because we are ultimately energy. So that's about it.
Look, I love that you help women from all different phases of their life, because it's like the initiation into womanhood, and then through conception and birth, and the journey of motherhood, and then through to perimenopause, because all of them are such important chapters in our life. And it can be quite daunting at every phase, right? When you're a teenager, it's like, oh, well. And then when you become a mother, and then again at menopause, it just throws everything out. And we are, as you say, energy beings. So it's really important to kind of tune into our inner selves and find a way to kind of navigate through that. And I think I'm not sure how old you are, but I'm presuming in our generation or similar generations, back then it wasn't talked about at all. And it was almost like, not a dirty word, but it was almost like, oh, you just don't. And so there was a lot of not really shame, but in a way shame, I guess, because you couldn't openly talk about, you couldn't celebrate being a woman and the different phases you're going through. And I know when I sort of went through my transition during my young teens, it was like I was too scared to tell anybody, and I didn't want to talk about it. It was just like, oh my God, this horrible, and it should be more of a beautiful thing. So I love that we are making that more normal for the next generations that are coming through, and helping them through their cycles, because it's such a spiritual journey as well. Even in your teens, you're going through all sorts of things anyway at that age, but it's a real spiritual journey in knowing yourself and your cycles and your energy, and how that really affects all the different areas of your life. So I must admit, I've heard of doulas before, but not necessarily a conception doula. So can you explain a little bit more about what's involved in that, and how you help women through that?
Yeah, so essentially, you've got your doula that is through the birth process, and we also have postpartum doulas. So this is the same concept, but prior to preconception. So we're preparing and supporting women to get ready because there's a lot of outside influences. Our nervous systems are out of whack. We don't necessarily have all the support tools in place for when we basically cross the bridge from being preconception, conception to postpartum and motherhood. So, there's a lot of change that goes on within
So
that
much.
time frame as well. There's
Yeah.
so many unknowns. So yeah, basically, I act as a support person to help them to prepare on the emotional level. So really addressing emotional needs and building their own emotional relationship with themselves and being okay with those emotions. Because when you do get to the other side into motherhood, there are a lot of new things to navigate. And we
Yes.
can be very triggered by situations, and then our children as they grow up. So yeah, that's really important. So it's really it's the first stepping stone, I would like to see it as, building a really solid foundation for them to move forward, to feel safe, to navigate all the changes from there on.
Yeah. And it's about healing that sort of mother wound, isn't it, as well?
Absolutely.
Because like for some who are in the old, I guess, older generation and things weren't spoken about,
Yeah.
there's a lot of challenges that came with that as well. So it's just being able to heal through different parts of your childhood so you can prepare to be a mother, because that it does come up at some point
Absolutely.
anyway. So you
Does.
need to really understand that and learn more about yourself and be prepared for it, and I guess in a way break that whatever negative parts of that cycle that there might be through the generational trauma.
Yeah.
So and how do you help women through on the other scale, the perimenopausal sort of women going through the transition of, I guess, closing the portal, as I like to call it, and transitioning into that new phase?
Yeah, well, perimenopause is likened to a second puberty.
Yeah.
Like you're really thrown in the deep end again, and there's so much of this, like, oh, what's going on?
Yeah.
And there's not much information. Yeah. And we haven't spoken about it much either. So again, it's a lot of shadow work, because I see it as a second opportunity before you reach menopause to really go in and dive in deep and do the inner shadow work. So and when you get to that sort of age range as well, it's kind of like, oh, like, is anything going to give? Is something going to change? Is this how it is forever? And you almost like that midlife crisis type energy. I don't really like that word, but
I know, you just reevaluate everything, right?
Yeah. So this is just like a new opportunity to really get to know yourself more intimately and to enhance your relationship with yourself and lean into your own wisdom as you are starting to step across into that crone energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like they're all such intense phases. So I think
They are.
it's great that you support women on each different stage and each different age, because there are, I guess, offerings out there for one particular phase, but you offer all of them, which is it's just really beautiful. So do you want to share with the listeners what offerings you do have for women out there who want support? Obviously, you are a conception doula and you do the motherhood mentoring and that sort of thing. What do you offer for maybe the younger generation that transitioning into all of this? What do you have out there?
Yeah, so we hold a in-person mother and daughter workshop, and that is to help them to reconnect and to understand each other more intimately. But I also support the mums to, it's almost like going back on their timeline to their time of puberty and menstruation, and connecting back and really leaning into that energy and understanding that on a deeper level for themselves. So then they're able to support their daughters understanding it from a different perspective, not just this is what happens in my physical body each month and that's it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we really navigate that. And then there is also a online component of that which dives in deeper.
Yeah.
And then on the preconception, I have a offering called Your Pathway to Pregnancy. And that's where I support women to basically prime their body and mind from a holistic approach to prepare for conception. So we reset and regulate the nervous system. We look at their beliefs and things that might be holding them back. We navigate the mother wound. We look at their own conception and how that may be a catalyst for things happening at this point in time. And and then the final one is probably a larger audience would be for perimenopause and people with reproductive conditions. So what I didn't mention earlier is through doing shadow work and really calming my own nervous system, I have actually gone from having excruciating pain each month connected with my periods and having no energy, literally on the couch, get up, do one thing, back to the couch, rest again. And now I have no symptoms, zero symptoms, zero pain. So I also love to share that while we are showing that there is the option of managing, there is also the option of healing. So this program dives in really deep. It's an 8-session program and it's addressing a lot of things and really diving deep into that shadow work and the inner child, working with your inner mother, healing that mother wound and regulating and resetting and rewiring. So
Oh, look, I think you've got so much to offer, and I wish when I was pregnant that I had someone like you involved. You know, for most of my listeners would know, I went through majority of that journey on my own, and motherhood through my own. It was so daunting and it was so nerve-wracking. I was under so much stress in my last couple of months of pregnancy, and I just probably needed someone like you to kind of just help me mellow out, reset, and just focus on the things that I needed to focus on, because it was such a it's a challenging journey, especially on your own. But look, I think you've got so many offerings. Like I said, you've got a lot of wisdom. You've obviously been through a lot of things yourself as well. So you have that background knowledge, not just textbook knowledge, you know. Exactly. So look, and what have you seen in the transitions for women that you have worked with? What kind of changes have you seen in them?
Well, I've supported a lot of women probably over the last 7 years to conceive naturally, and these are people that were told that they would need IVF, or one lady only had one fallopian tube, so she said she was told she would need support. She conceived naturally. People with endometriosis and told they would never be able to do it on their own. So a lot of natural conceptions and going on to have beautiful, healthy babies. And just seeing a lot of people shift through. I do in-person work as well and do Reiki and womb healing and massage. So I see a lot of shifts with people with PTSD, people going through perimenopause. So there's a lot of, people taking their power back and just realizing that they are cyclical beings. And I love it when women then just go, I don't have to keep operating from that masculine energy all the time. I can come over, and it is safe for me to be more vulnerable and to not have to rush and be productive all the time. And
I think in society we've kind of been brought up that way, in that we've got to be doing all the time, or we're not allowed to just, I guess, sit on our laurels in a way and recover or, process things. And that's I think one of the areas where we've kind of faltered, in that it is so important.
Absolutely.
And it's a beautiful thing to be able to do, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it, and it's imperative that we do that for ourselves and our family and our children as well. So
otherwise we lead to burnout, and then we're no good to anyone.
And I've reached burnout. I've had PTSD in the past. I've had lots of different things, and I think look, you just really need to take that time. So you learn your lessons the hard way sometimes,
Yes,
but it doesn't
that's
have to be
true.
that way if you take those steps. So look, if there's one piece of advice you'd like listeners to take away from today, what would that be?
It would be open your mind to really leaning into your cycle and really getting it to know it on a deeper level, because each phase of your cycle offers you opportunities for healing and growth, and they're all different energies. So if you can look at it from that perspective, that rather than moving through your day almost in that masculine energy and just being more mechanical, actually lean in and go, how am I feeling right now? Like, how are my energy levels? Are they tapering off because maybe I'm moving into that premenstrual luteal phase? Maybe I need to slow down and pull back, or, you know, exercise is a good example. If we just keep going with the same exercise each month over and over again, you're actually doing your hormones a bit of damage and throwing your cycle out. And if you actually listen to your body and go, hang on a minute, do I really feel up to it? Do I really have the energy to sustain this right now? And you might feel, hang on, I need to do something like more like yoga, or, you know, a walk or a day off. So give yourself grace to really feel into the differing energies that you have, because that is your own natural rhythm.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, look, I love the wisdom that you're sharing. I think you've got a beautiful soul, beautiful energy, and you've got so much to offer. So the listeners out there who would like to contact you and perhaps explore how you could assist them, what's the best way to contact you?
Probably through Facebook at Embracing Change with Kate Taylor.
Yep. And I've had a look. Everything is on there, and we'll be putting the information in the bio and everything below as well. So look, for anyone out there who's really interested in learning more and exploring more about themselves, I would definitely suggest reaching out to Kate and seeing how she can be of help. So thank you once again for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
And for all the listeners out there, we'll be up again soon with more episodes. Bye.